the past couple of months, I've been having a think about what predictions I've got for 2024, what I think we'll be seeing more of, maybe what we'll be seeing less of, which brands will be thriving, which may be struggling a little bit, which items might we show a bit more of an interest in, more than we ever have before. So, in today's video, I'm going to be going through some of those predictions, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what I expect to expect in 2024. Okay, I think I did a pretty decent job last year of predicting that Loewe was going to be the hottest brand of 2023, and whilst, according to the list index, was only right for 1/4 of the year, I'm going to give myself that, I'm going to give myself a little bit of something. Anyway, off the back of that, I do think that next year will be Bottega's year. And listen, I know it's not like they've been dormant. It's not like, oh, it's been silence from the brand for the last how many years. We know that they had their resurgence just before the pandemic. What was it, like a 2019 moment with Daniel Lee? But I do think that they are very well positioned to thrive in 2024. So, like I said, they've not been under the radar. This year, we've talked about them in regards to the Andiamo bag. It's been a very popular bag this year, carried by celebrities, many a conversation about it on social media. A$AP Rocky has sort of like been low-key a brand ambassador, and then they recently put out their campaign in which he very clearly is. I think that Mattia Blasi, creative director of the brand, is such a great fit for the brand, right? Because we are getting those kind of like very interesting pieces, but they still are very wearable. Also very good accessories, right? Fair enough, under Daniel Lee it was very much shoes and bags, and I think we're sort of less shoes with Bottega now, but the bags are still very much thriving. And with all of these luxury brands, how well the bags do is really a correlation to how well the whole brand is doing, because bags and accessories is where the sales are made. I think it's a very good brand because whilst we're having this sort of quiet luxuriness going on, Bottega is the brand that sort of, I don't know, straddles that fence quite well, in that if you are quiet luxury, you can have your beige and tan and black and white Bottega bag. But if you are loud luxury, you can have your Bottega bag that comes in like a glorious foiled gold or a, you know, a bright yellow or whatever it is. I feel like the colours really mean that you can get people from lots of different styles to be involved, and then the bag styles themselves tend to be very wearable, very usable, very easy. And yes, if you're looking for that small intrecciato weave on a big bag, that's a high figure that you're shelling out kind of thing. But I do think that there are lots of different bag styles from Bottega that are at a lot more of an approachable price point compared to sort of other brands in its category. So I think that we're going to see it soaking up the limelight a lot more next year. The other brand that I really think we're going to be hearing more from, and maybe this is just also a hope from myself, is Alaia. I think that the sort of average consumer has gotten a lot more used to the brand over the last year, with the Alaia mesh ballet flats being very popular, with the Alaia Lacquer heart bag being really popular. So we're seeing this name crop up a bit, and hopefully it's a brand that people then, you know, recognise a bit more, trust a bit more, and so we can just see them thrive, because Alaia's just end to end, it's great. The shoes, great. The bags, great. The ready to wear, oh my gosh, it's glorious. Okay, everybody looks amazing in Alaia ready to wear. Anyway, so I really, really hope that in 2024 we're going to see a lot more from Alaia as well, and a lot more eyes on Alaia. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Prediction number 2. I think Tiffany is going to be coming at us with a good number of collabs next year. I'm talking 2 to 3, because that's what they did this year, and I can only see them doing more and more and more. This year we saw Tiffany and Nike. My gosh, that feels like it was ages ago. No, that was earlier this year when they did that, you know, on a lackluster collaboration on a all black Air Force One. They also did a collaboration with Rimowa kind of Septemberish, August, Septemberish time. That was really good, but there didn't really seem to be much chatter about it. I feel like that could have done with a lot more hype because it actually was a really good collaboration. And then more recently, I think actually this is maybe going to drop in January if I've got my facts straight. They have announced a collaboration with Arsham Studio, which is Daniel Arsham, the artist, and Pokemon. Pokemon is here, there and everywhere, as we're going to be getting into it, right, in another prediction. Tiffany is part of the LVMH world, right? So you're going to sort of like predict, like the Tiffany and Romewa collaborations within the company, right? Will we see maybe a Tiffany Dior collaboration? We know that Kim Jones loves a bit of a collab, right? Are we going to see something there? We've already seen a Fendi Tiffany. Will we see maybe a Tiffany Loewe collaboration there? I don't know, that could be quite interesting. Or a Pucci. But anyway, they're going to be doing more of this because collaborations is a way that a lot of these luxury brands are... It's a tactic they're using to expose themselves to a younger customer, a Gen Z clientele, something like that. And this is it's a way that, like, no matter how much people express their kind of fatigue about it, it clearly does well for them because these brands keep doing it. And I see that Tiffany is probably going to keep on keeping on and doing some rogue collaboration. No, they're going to do a sports collaboration next year. Definitely. There's definitely, mark my words. You know me, I'm putting my name to use. Cassandra, you know, she was a prophetess. All of that in Greek mythology, you know, give me a little bit of credit. Right, bag charms are going to become a lot more of a thing. So, I'm going to give you context as to why, but get your ratty little Fendi bag charms out, she says, as, you know, I've got my little Carlito collecting dust in a box in back in the UK. I think he needs to come out of his nice little long sleep that he's had there. He needs to emerge from that coffin that I've put him in, and he needs to be coming out swinging. This is not something that it's like, oh my gosh, nobody's doing bag charms. Especially in the world of like Hermes bags. People love a good... Are they called bag charms? Do they have like an official name from Hermes? I don't know. But the Pegasus, the little Iran sandal, you can do like the tiny mini bag version on the bag. All of that, right? We've seen it, we're used to it. But I think that whilst we're seeing these very kind of like messy, everything thrown in bags on the runway, and we're not going to really sort of interpret that in real life, apart from, you know, listen, we've all had those days. But what I think this lends to is a personalisation or a customisation of bags. I think since luxury fashion has become much more widely... I don't like to use the word accessible because that implies that the pricing is accessible and it's not. But more people have luxury bags. I think this is a way that will sort of allow us to individually differentiate our purchases from one another, right? So, like I've said, we know this and we see this in the Hermes game. I've seen people put Van Cleef on their bags as a way of like giving it a bit of that. My best example of this is Laurie Hirschleifer, the way that she puts like charms and just sort of anything on her bags. It's strange because it works, like it just looks really good. And I'm like, how have you just sort of like wrapped a chain around that handle of it and there's a sodding notebook hanging from the other one and it looks quite cool, you know? I'm obsessed with the use of the Chrome Hearts cross as almost like a little septum piercing on a Birkin. That in like the turn lock, it just looks so cool. You're also seeing the mini bags on normal sized bags with something like the Fendi baguette. You've got a normal Fendi baguette and you've got a nano baguette hanging off the side of it. Little things like that. My next prediction is that I don't think that Gucci is going to find its feet next year. It's been a bit of a weird one, and I might be wrong. Look, with all these, I might be wrong. I'm just going to be here and I'm still going to open my mouth. It's been a bit of an odd reception following, and I did a whole video on this that I will link below to go in more detail, but essentially, the turn that Gucci has taken means that you can get the vibe that Gucci is now trying to give us from a lot of other brands that you didn't really used to. Gucci was very sort of unique in itself, it was in its own lane. Now, with this sort of shift to, you know, the more sort of minimalist, there are other brands that have been doing that and maybe do it better. Now, I'm not going to say that we're not going to hear about them. I still think that they're going to have the odd sort of viral push or product that goes very popular. I'm, at the moment, putting my money on those platform loafers. I think that we'll be seeing those a lot. Like, yeah, I think so. Cassie, say it with your chest. Yeah, I'm putting my money on the platform loafers. I also think that maybe the Jackie bags from that first collection will do well, but this all comes down to the price of it. I think that the price is going to be a very, very big factor, as we're seeing with like Daniel Lee for Burberry. New creative directors come in, that's one thing. Price, hold on a second. The old Burberry tried and true loyal customer is like, hold on, I'm not used to paying this money for a skirt or for a top or for a jacket. So is a similar thing going to happen with Gucci? Because Gucci's superpower previously has also been that there is something for everybody within a very large price range. So I think that they are still going to be all over the place next year, I think, while they sort of find their groove. I don't know, I'm a tiny bit worried for them, to be fair. Speaking of Gucci, Alessandro Michele, I think he's going to have an appointment next year. We're going to see an announcement that is Alessandro Michele is the new creative director for X. The rumour that I've heard thus far, and the one that I think would be great, is him to go to Fendi. Now, Kim Jones at Fendi is doing great, but I feel as though Alessandro Michele for Fendi will be very interesting. I think he'll do a very good job of taking what Fendi does really well and putting some twists on it, putting some little bells and whistles on it, I don't know. So I think that one would be an interesting one. I think out of all of the sort of rumours that I've heard, that's the one that might have a lot of weight. The other thing is that I've already sort of heard whisperings about the fact that LVMH is trying to poach him in general out of Kering, because obviously Gucci is Kering. LVMH has seen what he's done with Gucci and they're like, right, well, you've decided to go another way, right? We still see the value. I think it's going to be an LVMH appointment, full stop, and if I had to guess, I think it's going to be Fendi. Slightly dipping back into what I was saying about Tiffany, prediction number 6, we're going to see much more integration between fashion and sport. Right, this year we saw, if you looked at the front row of Pharrell's first Louis Vuitton show, packed out with sports people, then, was it Crystal Palace? Look, you know what, I'm not really into any of the sport, full stop. But I think it was them. They recently were the first football team to hire a creative director, and part of that job was to focus on sort of fashion partnerships within the team. Again, we're seeing this sort of more and more instances of this marriage between fashion and sport come into play. LVMH is a very big sponsor of the Paris Olympics next year. So there's different brands out of LVMH that are going to be doing the, I was going to say the uniforms. Is that the right thing? The uniforms? The sports outfits? Certain brands are designing the medals and the trophies and all of that. There's definitely going to be a Tiffany thing there, but I think outside of that, I think there's going to be a Tiffany Sports collaboration in general. I think we're going to see more sort of celebrity ambassadors within the sports space, and I even think if we take something like ski wear, this last season, I feel as though more brands have involved themselves in bringing out a ski wear collection than we've seen in years previous, right? I mean, you've got Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, their Coco Neige collection is just like bulked up more and more and more every year. I mean, you know, these brands do the odd thing, the yoga mat here and the skateboard there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more and more of this category getting bulked up. I do also see the popularity of vintage to continue to rise. Again, this is an amalgamation of a number of factors, including the fact that A, wanting to have something that less people have or can find, so like that sort of wanting to stand apart a bit, the uniqueness. I think that with price increases, declining quality, and I think that one of the downsides of like vintage and pre-loved has always been the sort of authentication around it, but I think that a lot of quite a few big players in the pre-loved and the vintage world have become very sort of trustworthy, right? You've got something like eBay's or extra authentication step, stuff like that that gives people more trust in buying through these, you know, some are a bit. But also in brands continuing to look back and re-edition pieces. January 1st, what's coming? Louis Vuitton is dropping a 2024 version of their denim collection that was sort of like early 2000s-y. They're doing the Nano Speedy in that. They're doing the, what's this one? The Coussin bag. Different styles in that fabric. Again, re-editions. So I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of where we've been going, which is looking back to the past. More celebrities stepping out in vintage pieces, all of that. Prediction that I had last year that I would like to continue on for this year is our focus more and more on emerging small designers. And I think that we have seen it quite a bit this year. You know, we've been speaking about designers like Dilara Findikoglu, Wales Bonner, and their collaboration with Adidas that has been so super popular. Martine Rose and her designs that are very sort of that sort of football aesthetic. You know, I'm happy that we're talking about these smaller brands, and I think that as people are sort of seeing like all of these big brands kind of like do the same thing, looking back and doing re-editions and blah blah blah, and we're struggling to see the sort of innovation and what's new and fresh and different, I think that we'll be turning to those small innovative designers. And my final prediction is that Schiaparelli is still going to be ruling the runways, okay? Every single time Schiaparelli puts on a show, I'm in awe, okay? I'm happy. I reach a place where I'm like, oh, this is fashion. You know, this is the fun bit. Oh my gosh, I know if I were to step into that outfit, I would transform into this sort of mythical goddess. But I think that we're going to be seeing more like Schiaparelli on the red carpet. They're still going to be absolutely killing it, like with all of their runways, because Daniel Roseberry is just an absolute legend and is just weaving gold out of his fingertips, truly. But I also think that we're going to be seeing Schiaparelli do sort of like outside collaborations a little bit more. Recently they announced that they did like a little sort of one-off furniture collaboration, and whilst yes, I don't think that we're going to be out there spending $80,000 on a, I don't know, a stool. I have no idea. That was just any number out of the top of my head that seemed like that is what I would expect. I think that we'll be seeing more of these sort of like outside collaborations or one-offs from the brand. One day will we be able to have tea in a Schiaparelli designed restaurant or in the lobby of a Schiaparelli designed hotel? I don't know. But like, that's the way that I can see this brand going, because the sort of world and the mysticism and the fantasy that they've built is brilliant. And you can just see it. You don't have to like know the background or whatever. You can just watch a show or even just skim through the Instagram and go like, oh my gosh, that's just magic. So I expect to be seeing more of that. There you go, those are my predictions. Let me know if you have any more predictions. Leave them in the comments, please. I'll be very interested to see them. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.